Hey coin lovers! Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're talking about 5 rare and valuable US state quarters that could be hiding in your change. Some of these coins are worth thousands of dollars. Stick around to learn what makes them special and how much they're really worth. First up, we have the 2007 Montana quarter, and believe it or not, this coin can be worth up to $2,400 if it has the right kind of error. That's a huge amount for just a single quarter, so let's find out what makes this coin so special. The Montana State Quarter was released in 2007 as part of the U.S. Mint's 50 State Quarters program. This program ran from 1999 to 2008 and featured a special design for each of the 50 states, with 5 new designs coming out each year. These quarters quickly became popular with collectors, young and old, because they made learning about U.S. states fun, and because some of them ended up being worth way more than 25 cents. The design on the Montana quarter is bold and unique. It features a large bison skull floating above a scenic view of the Montana landscape, with mountains and wide open spaces in the background. The bison skull is a symbol often connected to Native American culture and represents the strong connection between the people and the land. Underneath the skull is Montana's nickname, Big Sky Country. This design honors Montana's rich history, its native wildlife, and its deep cultural roots. It's one of the more artistic and powerful designs from the whole 50 State Quarter series. Now here's where things get interesting. Some 2007 Montana quarters have minting errors, and that's what really drives up their value. Specifically, some of these coins have a double die error or a misaligned die. A double die error happens when the coin is struck more than once by the machine that adds the design, but the strikes aren't perfectly aligned. This causes parts of the image, like the letters, numbers, or even parts of the skull, to look slightly doubled. It's like seeing a shadow behind the design. This doubling usually happens on the obverse, front, side of the coin where you see George Washington's face. A misaligned die, on the other hand, is when the top and bottom parts of the machine, called dies, that stamp the coin aren't lined up properly. This can make the design look off-center or shifted, and sometimes the edge of the coin might look thicker on one side. These errors are not super common, which makes them exciting to collectors. When a coin has one of these errors, especially if the doubling or misalignment is easy to see with the eye or with a magnifying glass, collectors are willing to pay a lot more for it. These kinds of mistakes don't happen every day, and when they do, they only appear on a small number of coins. If you happen to have a 2007 Montana quarter with one of these errors, and it's in great condition, which collectors call mint state, you could be looking at a value of around $2,400. That's right, nearly $2,400 for a quarter. Even if your coin isn't perfect, it could still be worth much more than face value if it has one of these rare errors. Always check your quarters carefully, especially from the State Quarter series. You never know when one might surprise you. Coming in at number 2 is the 2005 Minnesota quarter, and this one could be worth up to $1,300 if it has the right kind of error. That's a huge leap from just 25 cents, so let's take a closer look at what makes this coin special. History and design. The Minnesota State Quarter was released in 2005 as part of the U.S. Mint's 50 State Quarters program. Like the others in the series, it was created to highlight the unique history, culture, and beauty of each U.S. state. Minnesota is known for its lakes, so many lakes, in fact, that it's often called the Land of 10,000 Lakes. The design on this quarter reflects that nickname. It features a calm lake scene with a canoe gliding across the water, 2 people inside the canoe, and evergreen trees lining the shoreline. In the background, you'll also see a detailed outline of the state of Minnesota. It's a peaceful and pretty design that celebrates the state's outdoor life and natural beauty. Many people enjoy collecting it just for how it looks, but there's something even more exciting hidden in some of these coins. Error and rarity. The real value in the 2005 Minnesota quarter comes from a very specific minting error known as the extra tree error. So what exactly is the extra tree error? Some of these quarters appear to show an extra tree or shape among the trees on the right side of the coin, near the outline of the state. These extra trees are not part of the original design and happen because of damage or mistakes in the die used to strike the coins at the U.S. Mint. When a die becomes damaged or worn, strange marks or extra lines can appear on the coins it strikes. On these error coins, the extra shape often looks like an additional tree trunk or a thick shadow between the normal trees. There are actually multiple versions of this error, some more obvious than others. The clearer and more dramatic the extra tree looks, the more valuable the coin becomes to collectors. What's really interesting is that these error coins were discovered by collectors and hobbyists who were carefully examining their change. People started noticing the odd extra shapes and quickly realized they were consistent on many 2005 P quarters from Minnesota. Since then, these coins have become a hot item in the coin collecting world. And value. Now here's the exciting part. If you have one of these 2005 P Minnesota quarters with the extra tree error, and it's in good condition, you could be looking at a value of up to $1,300. That's a big return on a simple coin you might find in your change jar, pocket, or old collection. Even if the coin isn't in perfect condition, it can still be worth much more than face value. So, next time you come across a Minnesota quarter, take a closer look at the trees. That tiny extra shape could mean big money. Now we're getting into serious money. The 2004 P Wisconsin quarter can be worth as much as $6,000. That's right, a single quarter could be worth more than a used car. So what makes this coin so valuable? Let's find out. History and design. The 2004 P Wisconsin State Quarter was part of the popular 50 State Quarters program, which ran from 1999 to 2008. This program was created to honor each of the 50 U.S. states with a special coin design that highlighted something unique about that state. For Wisconsin, the design was all about farming. The quarter features three main things: a cow, a round of cheese, and an ear of corn. These symbols represent the state's strong ties to agriculture, especially dairy farming. Wisconsin is often called America's Dairyland, so it's no surprise that the coin shows off what the state is best known for. The design was fun, simple, and very fitting. Most people thought it was just another cool coin to collect. But soon, collectors began to notice something strange about some of these quarters. Error and rarity. That's where the big money comes in. Some of the 2004 P Wisconsin quarters have a very unique error known as the extra leaf error. And this isn't just one mistake, there are actually two different types of this error that have been found, the extra leaf high and the extra leaf low. So what are these extra leaves? If you look closely at the ear of corn on the coin, near the bottom, you'll see the regular leaves sticking out. But on some coins, there's an extra leaf that wasn't supposed to be there. In the extra leaf high version, the leaf points upward. In the extra leaf low version, it points down and sticks out lower than the rest. These extra shapes were not part of the original design and definitely stand out if you know where to look. Experts believe the error happened because of damage to the die, the tool used to stamp the design onto the coin. Some even think it may have been done on purpose by someone at the mint, though that's never been proven. Whether it was an accident or intentional, the result is one of the most talked about coin errors in recent history. Collectors love error coins, especially ones that are easy to spot and have interesting backstories. The extra leaf versions of the Wisconsin quarter became instantly popular and are still in high demand today. Current value. If you happen to have one of these rare error coins, and it's in excellent condition, you could be looking at a value of up to $6,000. That's right, $6,000 for a quarter that might be sitting in someone's old coin jar or change drawer. Even if your coin isn't in perfect shape, it can still be worth hundreds or even thousands if it has one of these extra leaf errors. So take a close look at that coin next time you come across a Wisconsin quarter, you never know what you'll find. Number 4 on our list is the 2001 P Kentucky quarter, and this little beauty can be worth up to $2,500. That's a big return for a coin that might be hiding in your spare change. Let's take a closer look at why this quarter is so special. History and design. The 2001 Kentucky quarter is part of the 50 State Quarters program, which celebrated each U.S. state with a unique design on the back of the quarter. These coins were released in the order that the states joined the Union. Kentucky was the 15th state, so its quarter came out early in the program. The design on this coin is beautiful and very meaningful to people from Kentucky. It shows Federal Hill, a historic mansion that inspired the famous song, My Old Kentucky Home. The house sits in the background while a racehorse stands proudly behind a fence in the foreground. This horse represents Kentucky's long-standing tradition of horse racing, especially the world-famous Kentucky Derby. The coin perfectly captures the spirit of the state, rich history, southern charm, and a love for horses. Error and rarity. Now, here's where the coin gets interesting, and valuable. Some 2001p Kentucky quarters have rare minting errors that make them worth much more than face value. The first type of error is called a die crack. This happens when the metal piece that stamps the design onto the coin, called the die, starts to crack over time from repeated use. When a cracked die is used to strike a coin, it leaves behind a raised line on the surface of the coin. It might look like a scratch, but it's actually part of the coin's metal and was created during minting. These die cracks can appear anywhere, but collectors especially value the ones that are long, bold, or in interesting places. The second type of error is known as a clashed die error. This occurs when the two dies, one for the front, obverse, and one for the back, reverse, of the coin, strike each other without a coin in between them. When this happens, parts of the design from one die get imprinted onto the other. Then, when coins are struck afterward, they show faint, ghost-like images where they shouldn't be. For example, you might see parts of the horse's image on the front of the coin, or outlines of the text appearing in the wrong spot. Both of these errors are fairly rare, and they're exciting finds for collectors. People love coins that are unique or unusual, especially when the mistakes are clearly visible. Current value. If you find a 2001p Kentucky quarter with a strong die crack or clashed die error, and the coin is in great condition, you might be able to sell it for as much as $2,500. That's a big deal for a coin that originally cost just 25 cents. So next time you're checking your quarters, take a closer look. A strange line or ghost image might mean you're holding something really valuable. And at the top of the list, we have the 2000p Virginia State Quarter, with a whopping value of up to $7,000. That's right, a single quarter could be worth a lot more than you ever imagined. Let's dive into what makes this coin so special. History and design. The 2000p Virginia State Quarter is part of the U.S. Mint's 50 State Quarters program. This series of coins was designed to celebrate the history and culture of each state, and Virginia's coin is a standout. Virginia's quarter honors one of the most important events in American history, the founding of Jamestown in 1607, which was the first permanent English settlement in North America. The design on the coin features three ships, the Susan Constant, Godspeed, and Discovery, that carried settlers from England to the New World. These ships were part of the famous voyage that helped shape the future of the United States. The image is a beautiful tribute to Virginia's early history, and it's one that many collectors appreciate for its historical significance. However, what makes this coin truly valuable today is not just its design, but the rare minting errors that some of these coins have. Error and rarity. So, what makes the 2000p Virginia quarter worth so much? The value comes from a specific minting error, a double strike. A double strike happens when a coin is struck more than once by the press at the mint. Normally, each coin is struck once, but if the coin is not properly ejected or aligned before it is struck again, it creates overlapping images. This can happen on parts of the design, such as the lettering, the ships, or even parts of the border. When the coin is double struck, you can see blurry or duplicated designs that shouldn't be there. Another error that makes these coins valuable is an off-center strike. This occurs when the die that stamps the coin isn't aligned properly with the coin, causing the design to be misaligned. As a result, you may see part of the design missing from the edge or the images on the coin being pushed too far to one side. Both of these errors are rare and highly sought after by collectors because they create coins that are not only unique but also visually interesting. Collectors love finding coins that have these kinds of mistakes because they're much different from the usual coins you find in circulation. Current value. Now, here's the exciting part. If you happen to find a 2000p Virginia quarter with one of these rare errors, particularly a double struck or off-center strike, and the coin is in excellent condition, it could be worth as much as $7,000. The value of these quarters can vary depending on the size and visibility of the error, but the more dramatic the error, the higher the price. These coins are so special because of how rare these mistakes are, and collectors are willing to pay top dollar for them. So next time you're going through your change, make sure to check for misaligned text, blurry ships, or any signs that the coin's design doesn't quite line up with the edges. You never know when you might find one of these super rare and valuable coins. So there you have it, the top 5 most expensive and ultra-rare US quarters that could be worth a whole lot of money. If you have any of these coins, make sure to check for errors and see if you're sitting on a small fortune. Remember, even small minting errors can turn an ordinary coin into a highly sought-after collector's item. So, next time you get some change, take a closer look, you might just find a rare gem. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel for more coin collecting tips and information. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.